Hello guys, this is Prof from Benco Forex Academy speaking. I would want to welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel by hitting that red subscribe button. Also turn your notifications on so that you don't miss any of the content that we'll be uploading on this channel. I also want to remind you to join our free Telegram channels. I'll be posting free trade setups, and this analysis that you are watching now will be updated in those free Telegram channels from time to time as we go through the week. If you have a special request or you want to have a conversation with me, you can contact me through those free Telegram channels and WhatsApp groups. I've put the links of those in the description below so that you can easily access them. So today in this video I'm going to be analyzing currencies and S&P 500, Nasdaq, and US 30. So I'm going to break these into probably maybe 3 pieces of videos so that they're not unnecessarily long. If you have specific pairs that you would want to watch on this video, you can just quickly forward to the section where I'll be talking about that pair. So without wasting your time, let's go through the pairs together. So here I have the DXY, I have the US dollar current index. So this is very important because it then have a BN which determines where your measures are most likely to go. So it affects the other measures a lot, so we might need to just use this to determine our bias, to just see or to just help us screen where we are most likely or where we have high probability of movement in our major pairs, not necessarily trading it, but just using it as a bias. So if you used to remember the last time when we looked at this, it was here and we had 2 options, whether this was gonna keep on retesting this zone I had reflected here, then continuing to the downside before we can go up, or then coming back like what is happening now. It has been pushing to the upside as we expected, and we were expecting that it should push up to this area of this order block, and we are not expecting this order block to be traded through the mean threshold, which is the 50% Fibonacci level of this body of this candlestick. So we are expecting this to be coming back to this area as we discussed in the previous video. And if you pull your Fibonacci from this using this point and this point as your swing point, you're going to see that this area will be around 0.618 or 61.8%, the golden ratio Fibonacci there, which is most likely that to be the point of reversal. And if you look at this side, you're going to see that that area has been respected year before, and it has been respected year before. So we can take this area collectively to be an area of resistance where we can expect this to start going to the downside. So because we're using this as bias, there's no need for us to go to lower time frames. We just want to see where most of these pairs are going to be going. So if this is going up, we would expect our majors, most of our majors, to push to the downside if there are no fundamentals that can affect them to move otherwise. So let's move on and talk about the Euro USD next. Okay, now we're looking at Euro USD, and this is the price action that we have been that has been displayed here. Last time we had this trend line and we're at this point, and I was telling you that I expected this to either have a channel that will be correcting around this area before we can push to the upside, or come back to this order block here. And this is what has been happening. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting this pair to keep on pushing to the downside up until that area of that order block there that I've just reflected. Let's just pull a Fibonacci here and see where we are. So I'm expecting this to come back to these areas where we have, or if you look on the other side there, you see that we have bodies of those candles there with this order block which was once respected. So I'm looking forward to this pushing down to these areas. Let's just go to H4 and see if that time frame is agreeing with what we are saying right now. So now we are on H4. What do we have? If we just check the price action that we are given here on H4, let's just zoom it a little bit so that it's visible enough for us to analyze. If we just look at this price action alone, you can see that this was a point of resistance which was supposed to send the price up. Price did go up and broke that, but closed within. So when it closed within, it was then sent down, taking out what? It took out this low here, and we just indicate that point here. So this is a point of market structure break. So market structure broke the downside, and price came back to test the order blocks that are at the point of the market structure break here, as you can see there. That was your sell there. If you had seen this earlier, you're going to enter your sell on these order blocks. Then by now the trade will be running on break even. So what do we have there? What are we expecting for this week? I don't think that Euro USD will come back to this area there. Let me just pull my Fibonacci and see what has been happening there. Okay, so we're at 50% adjustment. I don't think that this will push to the upside up to these areas. I don't think that's going to happen. Why? Because I'm seeing that lower time frame in H4 here, we have a broken structure again here, and what I would expect now to happen is for price to come back to this point of market structure break, to just correct as it comes to this point of market structure break, and use these order blocks here or this area of mitigation to then send the price to the downside. Where is our take profit if we take our trade from this point? I'm expecting the take profit to be at 61.8 adjustment of this swing high point. So I'm expecting my take profit to be in this order block here, around this order block, and I'm sure by the time it reaches to this order block, it will be retesting the opening price of that daily order block where we said we are expecting this pair to go. So that's it for Euro USD. Let's move on to GBP USD and see what we can expect from there. So now we are looking at GBP USD, and I'm here on the weekly time frame. There's something that we need to check on this weekly time frame here. If we check price block structure here to the downside, then it reacted from this point, coming back to this order block here, where it then came down again. Then this became an order block after price traded through it like that. So if we check price action that has been happening for the past 2 weeks that were given there, let me just use the arrow alone so that it's visible. For these past 2 weeks that you're seeing there, price has been respecting this order block, which is the last black candle that you see to the upside. If you see how the closes of these candles have been respecting that opening of that order block, and not trading it through it on the upside, this is a sign of weakness and a sign of reversal that you're seeing there. So it's an indication that order flow might be shifting to the sell side, as you can see there. So let's just go to D1 time frame and then see what we have on D1 time frame and see if it's confirming what we are talking about there. So now we are on D1 time frame. We're on D1 time frame there. We talked about price respecting that order block on the weekly side, and we talked about price respecting this order block on the weekly side, as you were seeing. So what am I expecting here? I'm expecting this pair to respect this order block still and use this order block to send price to the downside. So what I'm expecting for this is to sell going to the downside. Let's just check where we can expect this pair to go. So on the daily time frame, I'm expecting this to sell. Your take profit for this week will be on this daily order block after you've taken out this swing point. So let's go on H4 and see if we can find a possible area where you can then take your short position. So on H4, this is what I have. On H4. Let me just pull my Fibonacci on this side, on this swing low, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. So these are possible waves that we are seeing there. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. We are not going to waste time to try and measure them and see if they are agreeing to what we are saying, because price action on this side is clear. If you check, this price has been respecting this level a lot. If you look at this side, there is this order block and there are these order blocks here. They have been respecting this level a lot, and I'm expecting price to continue respecting this level. Why? Because if you check here again, we have broken structure and price has tried to go through it and respected this order block and this area of mitigation there. So what I'm expecting is maybe price will just stay here for some hours, then continue to go to the downside. But we cannot rule out the fact that we have equal highs there that we are being given, and we know that above those equal highs we might have liquidity, and above those equal highs again we have these order blocks before break, which send the market to break structure this side. So there is a possibility that price might just continue to trickle up until we get to this zone that I've indicated there before we sell to the downside. So what's the best way to take this trade? The best way to take this trade is to wait for price to commit to the downside. If it commits to the downside below this red candle and below this swing point that has been established there, you wait for the retest. Maybe go on your lower time frames and wait for the retest, or you look for a possible correction and use our risk entry or reduce the risk entries to join that trade to the downside. So where is our take profit? Where are we expecting to have our take profit? If we are going to use this swing high as our wave 1, then this being the correction of the wave 1, then I would be expecting this to come even down to 78.6 level, or even to the double bottom here before we can go to the upside. But you don't need to be too ambitious when you are trading these pairs. You need to make sure that you are getting more money from your risk that you would have put on the table. So what I would advise you to do is to just wait for this swing point. When they take out this swing point, you take out your profit. As you can see that there is an area of resistance there. By the time they take out this swing point, they would have broken this trend line. Then if you want to join another trade, then you would want to observe how price will be acting at this area here, and what will you be given as price action. If you join my Telegram groups, I will be giving you update on how price will be acting in these areas, and if that is signaling us to continue going to the downside. keeping in mind that this will be an area of resistance should we break down to below this point there. So let's go on and look at USD. Okay, now we're looking at USD. Just checking the price action that we're given here. It's not the best price action that you would want to trade, given the fact that it has respected this order block, which might be an indication that they want to send the price a little bit higher. But if you look at the overall picture of what we're given here and what we have been getting from the other pairs like Gbp Usd, Euro USD, a sell is the most probable thing to expect here. But how do we take this sell? Then we would want to make sure that we wait for them to trade or to close within or below this order block that they have been respecting here. Because if you check at the top there, they haven't been willing to go to the upside, but also they haven't been willing to violate this possible order block that we are given here. They've always been closing above this red candle that they have given us here. And on daily time frame anyway, if you check from this side, they did maintain the market structure breakpoint that they have established there, which is my area of resistance that I've indicated with that long table there. So what I would expect here is for them to then violate this on a daily time frame. If they close on a daily time frame within this, then I go to H4 and look for my entries to take it to the downside. Upon a bit of retracement, I can take that trade. Or if I'm going to stick to this daily time frame as my confirmation, then I would want them to break to close down below this, or even to break this swing point, which becomes my area of market structure break, and expect a retest to go to the downside. Let's just check what has been happening in H4 and see if that can give us clues as to what to expect as we go into this week. Let's just check the relationship between this swing point and this correction that we have been given there, and deduce whether this might be a good sell or not. Well, given the fact that they rejected the 78.6 level there, as you can see there, this gives me confidence that we are most probably going to be in a sell going to the downside. And checking what has been happening here, they've been respecting, let me check again what has been happening with this order block here. Oh yes, they've been respecting this these order blocks that you are given here. So what to expect is if you want to take this sell, it's a risky sell because of what we said on D1, but it's a possible sell that you can take. And what is the best way to take this sell? The best way to take this sell so that you don't risk it too much is to wait for them to close this area of inefficiency here. If you check, let me just use this. If you check the close of this and the close of that, if they manage to just go above to close the area of that inefficiency right there, you can take the trade and the risk up to the high of this candle that you're given there. That would be your risk percentage. If you take that trade and you are in profit, the moment they take out this point, which would now be your swing point, you then need to move that trade to a break-even point, because it's a high-risk trade. But given what we have been getting in the other pairs, it is a possible sell that we can take to the downside there. Let's finally look at our USD Jpy and see what's happening there, and see if we can get an opportunity there. Okay, now we're looking at one of my favorites, USD Jpy, and we're in the daily time frame. What to expect this week? If you check here, we've been given a double bottom, a double top rather. We've been given a double top there, and what I'm expecting is this to keep on selling, even up to these areas. Let me just use my cursor there, up to these areas, even taking out below up to these areas. I'm expecting this to come back to bounce to this trend line before we can evaluate whether we are going to get that fifth wave, taking out these these equal highs that have been given there. So what to do this week, what to expect this week? I wouldn't advise you to take this sell from that point since the market is open. I would want this to just go up to take this previous day's high there given there. I would want this to go up, then you take the trade from these areas to retest the trend line well before we can take that sell to the downside. Let's just check check H4 and see what's happening there. Probably maybe we can get a better price action that can whisper to us the right thing to do there. Oh, that's beautiful. I will still stick with what I've just said. If you check there, yes, we've broken market structure. Yes, but I would want this to push back to this candle body, which is encompassing everything. I want them to come back to this trend line overall before I can think about taking a sell. If they continue like this, then we will be assessing H1 and H4 as we go through the week and see if we can still join that trade. Where are we expecting our take profit? We said we're expecting this to come to this side, but sometimes you wouldn't want to hold up to that extent. So what you can do, if you're going to take the trade there, the first take profit will be below the lows, the other take profit will be here, then the other profit will be at the 100%, the 90% rule. That mostly when you have these shapes like this, when you have shapes like this that are coming back to the double top, you would want to expect the price action to cover at least 90% of that price action. So 90%, I'm sure it will go overly around these areas. Then you can take profit and start planning about the trade that we are talking about here of buying to the upside. This one will be a very long term trade to take. I wanted us to this favorite to be the last pair that we look at today for this week, but the price action on USD CAD is hard to ignore. So let's just finally look at USD CAD before we conclude this video. So now we are looking at USD CAD and we are on D1. So if you check this area we have indicated here, it has been a key area of support which was broken, then price came back above that support, and we know that support broken becomes resistance. This was supposed to be resistance for this price to keep on going down, but they just retested the resistance and traded through it in a very impulsive manner, and from that time they've been using this doji here as an order block. If you go on lower time frame, they've been using this as an order block to then keep on sending price higher. So if you check where price is right now, you're going to see that the closes of these candles and the open of these candles here that are given are forming some kind of a W that you're seeing there to the upside, up to the point that we can expect this price to go up, to break structure here, to break this price with the upside. And if you check, this price has been respected for a long time. So what I'm expecting here to happen is I'm expecting price to continue to push to the upside, and the point where I would want to take this trade is just for them to just come down a little bit to balance this inefficiency here, or to trade into this order block here before we can just go up there. Let's go to H4 and see if we can have more pointers towards where exactly to take this trade. So if you are seeing this chart there, what we now have is we closed the last week with an indecision candle there that you're seeing there. So what I'm actually expecting now is I'm expecting this price to continue going down, go down a little bit up to this point here of a market structure break. If you check there, price broke to the upside in an impulsive manner. So I'm expecting to take a trade there at that point and put the stop loss below the order block that I would have used to take the trade there. If I happen, because we cannot be correct all the time, so if we don't get that correction down to this point here, then because I have a resistance line there, which is my trend line, I will simply wait for price to come up above and break this trend line, and then trade the retest that will then come and go with the trade to the upside. Where am I expecting my take profit? I'm expecting my take profit to be just before this high there. Let's just measure and see if what we are saying is possible, because we just want a one-to-one situation where this wave will be equivalent to one. That's what we're talking about there. So this wave will be equivalent to this wave just above this area there. So we don't want to wait up until above that area, because we have this blue area indicating a previous high on that side. So just before these order blocks there, on this area where there's inefficiency, by the time they finish closing that inefficiency, I'll take profit on that area. So this is it, guys, for this week. On the measures, I would want to wish you a good trading week. Remember to join those Telegram channels that I talked about, so that as I update this analysis, you're also aligned, and you also take advantage of the analysis that I will be sending again on volatility indices. We also trade volatility indices in our account, so you would want to also take advantage of that. I will also do a video on courses on Gbp Jpy, Euro, Swiss franc, Euro Jpy, Euro, Canadian dollar, Euro, New Zealand dollar, and Usd Jpy. If you're interested in those courses, watch the next video that I'm just recording after this one. Cheers, and have a good week ahead.